All right, so here we are playing KnuckleheadOGs. So this is a brand new TCG developed by Funfart Games in association with Digital Knuckles. Now here we have a game that's split between two packs of cards. This is not necessarily a deck building game. This is more of a trading card game, and you'll see in a second what I mean by that. Now you can build a deck with this. You can build a deck of all the cards that you've collected and how you want to play. There's different versions of the game. There's different modes of the game that you can play. And those modes can be set either arbitrarily, depending on how you use the mechanics, or you can play strictly based on the rule set itself. Now, the recommendation is that you play with the standard rule set, because that gives you a very outlined process of how to, how to kind of enforce a victory condition and what the losing conditions are. So here we have the tokens. These tokens, you're most likely not going to be needing all of them. We're going to go ahead and we're going to withdraw the tokens and the dice. So we're going to drop these little micro dice. I think these little micro dice are pretty cool. They're very accessible, I guess you would call it. Very portable. Not like regular dice are not, but if I can give you a little bit of a comparison to standard size dice, these are standard size dice, which I believe are 32 millimeter. I could be wrong. I probably am. But these are 6 millimeter dice, so you can see in comparison, if my math is not wrong, these are about 1/8 the size. So yeah, however that math works. So we have the 1/8 of the size dice. So these micro little dice. I kind of was experimenting with the size wise. I'm probably going to double up on the size of that, just so these go from 6 millimeter to, I believe, 16 millimeter, or at least something like that. I believe it's 16 millimeter is the next size up. So we're going to be probably heading towards the 6 millimeter size dice, in opposed to the standard, I believe these are 32 millimeter. So we're pretty much going to be going half the size of that. So with that being said, the standard gameplay calls for 3 tokens, and that's pretty much like a set and death match type of gameplay. And then you have the 3 dice as the mechanics call for the 3 dice roll, and it's the biggest value out of the 3 dice that win each turn, I guess, during each round. And then you have the cards themselves. Each pack has 18 cards for a total of 36 cards when you get the game. So you'll be getting 10 little tokens, and then you'll be getting 3 dice, and then the 2 packs of 18. So that's a total of 36 cards. I already have a pack already opened, so I'm going to go ahead and put these aside. And I'm going to use these tokens here, and this is pretty much the pack, and we already opened this. So what we're going to get in this pack is 18 cards of the Knuckleheads TCG NFT integrated cards. So NFT integrated TCG is what this is. So yeah, that's the back of the card. And these are the fronts. So these are call out cards, very similar to challenge cards. Challenge cards are a little bit more blank. The reason being is challenge cards are placeholders for what represents trophies. So these can be considered trophies for each round. So the best out of 3 wins the round, and there's multiple rounds throughout one entire game. These get played through for 1 round. So these represent 1 round, and if you win this, you essentially win the trophies attributed to it, which is in this case depicted by the 2 golden little knuckleheads here, and that would represent 2 trophies. Same thing with this. This represents 2 trophies, and this are the winning conditions for that particular round. So if you do have these cards, or these cards get called, they'll go in between 2 skater cards, like so. So if this was my opponent and this was my card, a card like this here would get played in between, and each player would either have this in their hand and play it from their hand, or they would essentially hold or discard these cards if they don't want to play that particular rule set for the game. Otherwise, it's a head-to-head duel that you'll have, and on the cards themselves, you have different UI elements that represent different things. Now, as of the standard rules, you have these UI elements here, or should I say the the card values for the skateboard skills. Air for this particular card is +1, balance is +2, trick is +2. So what you would do is you would roll the dice, and depending on whether or not you rolled a double or a triple, that would qualify you to add these additional bonus skills. So these board skills would get added on to your overall value. So if you roll the dice and you just so happen to roll, I don't know, let's say you roll a double, right? The value of the double, so the qualifier is the double, so you roll a double, and then the third value is just an additional value to whatever the initial value of all the dice are. So if I roll a double, not only do I get the value of the double, which is in this case 12, so I'd get 12 points for this turn, +4, but then because I rolled the double, it would qualify this card to use its additional skills, which is in this case the +1, +1, +4, for a total of +6. So +6, and then you have the 16 here. So you'd have 16 for the base value, and then because I rolled the double, I get to unlock the board skills, which is an additional, in this case, 6. So when that happens, I would just add the 6 to the 16 here, and that'll give me a grand value, or should I say a total value of 22 points for this particular turn. So then my opponent takes a turn, they roll, and if they don't roll a double, in this case they did, so you can see here the 2 3s, it's a double, so that's a value of 6 + 5 is 11. Now they unlocked their bonus value too, and their bonus value is +3 + 3 + 1. So they have an additional 7 bonus value for their roll because they unlocked it with a double or a triple roll. In this case, it's a double 3. So we have 3 + 5, 3 + 3 is 6 + 5 is 11. Plus you add the additional board skill value, which is an additional 7. So here we have 11 + 7, 18. The roll of the opponent in this case was this card here being 22, beats out that card. So now if we're considering this whole game as a tournament, one skater gets dropped out of the tournament and one skater stays. Now in there, what happens is that was just one turn, but you have 3 turns, or should I say you have 3 tokens to collect best out of 3 for each round. In this case, this card wins that particular round, so he would gain 1 little token. This card still stays in until it gets fully eliminated, which is, again, the best out of 3 wins the total round. Now we're on to a new turn this round. So you can kind of say there's 3 turns per round, but whatever, really, it's determined by the amount of tokens that are left. So if it's like, say for instance, if it goes into a situation where they get tied and the tiebreaker is, there's only 1 little meeple left, and then they go for tie again, you keep going until somebody outskates the other. Or you can introduce another condition, like if you don't want to lose a card and you just so happen to have one of these, or a call out card or another challenge card, you can then, if the scenario is like such, you can then introduce a challenge card, which introducing a challenge card during this scenario also unlocks additional tokens like so. So each new challenge that comes up allows you to unlock an array of 3 more tokens, which again, best out of 3 wins. So in this case, if it was a 1-to-1 right here and there was only 1 token left, but I have a challenge card, I can play that challenge card now to increase the amount of tokens in the pool, So now I'm not left to just one more turn for this particular round. Now I'm left with 4 more tokens that can be collected. And in there, now you have the best out of 6. So you can kind of see how it can kind of continue to grow should you happen to have these challenge cards or these call out cards. And in this case, if it was the case where, let's do a quick little playthrough. So here we have a 11 plus 2, 13. So this card gets 13. So let's roll to this card. Oop. Let me roll that again. That was a little delayed. So let me move on to this card over here. So we have 4 plus. So now we have the doubles that unlock the board skills, and then plus 1. So that's 9 plus an additional 7. So we have 16. So this card wins that round. So now you can see where the best out of 3 gets reset by introducing these challenge cards or these call out cards. So again, that's the benefit of having them in your hand should you want to play them, so that way you don't lose that particular round. But also, in addition to that, not only do you get to keep your cards, but if you do win, let's go ahead and play with player 1 again. So we have 7 plus, now remember the doubles unlock the board skills. So we have 7 plus another 6, so that's 13. And then let's go on to the next player. So you can see right off the bat, we have 5 plus 6. That already beats. So you don't necessarily have to calculate the board skills. You can, depending on what type of tournament style you're playing. Like if you're going to do grand totals, which is like you go a certain amount of plays, where at the end of the game you would tally up the total score of your complete deck, or at the end of it, the complete score for your team, and then your opponent tallies up the complete score for their team, and then you'd see which one would win the competition based on the total score value. But here, what we're doing is head-to-head. It's a little different. That's not quite the standard game. That's more of the tournament style. This one is more of the standard game. So here we have that character wins that round. Now I completely forgot whether or not we had an additional. No, either way. So let's roll again. So let's go. Then we'll roll for this. So we have 10 plus 2 is 12. Now, on top of that, we also get to unlock the board skills because of the double roll. Or should I say the double numbers. We'll have plus 6. So we have 10. We have 18. So this card rolls an 18. And here we have 5 plus 6 is 11. So this card gets an additional token. Let's roll again, and we're back at this player. So now this card gets an 11, and let's roll for that player. So we got doubles. So we have 8 plus 3 is an 11. So that's already an 11, but now you add the board skills, and now you go from tie score to now this. That's kind of the tiebreaker because now you introduce the board skill value. And in this case, it's the 11 plus. It's the 11 plus the additional, what do we say, 7? So now you have the value of 18. So this card wins that. So now you have a potential, another tie scenario where let's roll again and see who wins this particular round. So we have a double roll plus 6. So we have 4, that's 10, plus an additional 6, so that's 16. So here we have a value of 12. So now we have another tiebreaker. So here we have a scenario where we have to play one more round in order for the tiebreaker to be applied. So we'll go with player 1 here. So we roll a double plus a 5. Here we are with the grand total of 17 plus, sorry, not grand total, but 17 plus 6. We're looking at 21, 22, 23. So we got 23. And then we'll go back to this player. We have 6 and 6, so that's 12. 13 plus an additional 7, so we got 20. So this card loses the round, and this card wins the trophy. So that's how that works. And then you'd reset the tokens, and then you would have to play again by using another character. Now, I haven't shuffled and dealt the cards. This is just the simple playthrough. I'm showing you how the card mechanics work and how the game mechanics work. But essentially, it's pretty much rolling for value and then attributing additional value should you qualify for the additional value, and then distributing the tokens to help you keep count of who's the best out of 3 and the turns that are happening within round. So yeah, that's the Knuckleheads TCG in a nutshell. And yeah, that's that.